change in education, in particular higher education, will happen in the classrooms, will not happen in the parliament or in Yojana Bhavan or in Shastri Bhavan. How do we, change the engagement between a teacher and a student in the classroom or outside the classroom is critical to reforms in education sector. And therefore, while those legislations are very important, but they are not critical to reforms in the higher education sector. So this point I wanted to make upfront. Second is that India's higher education sector does face a host of challenges. They were enumerated in the inaugural session. But I find no country in the world that does not, whose systems of higher education do not face challenges. I spent some time in Australia, and you will agree with me that higher education in Australia is considered to be in deep crisis as well. With the change in government, the funding, and all that stuff. So I think the crisis of India's situation obviously is very different, and obviously we are a big nation, so the scale of crisis is huge. It is monumental. So I'll not focus on the crisis that India's higher education faces, but there are opportunities, and I'll focus on 5 big opportunities that India's higher education has at this juncture, keeping the 2025 time frame in mind. The first opportunity is that over the last few years, there has been a much better understanding of how people learn. The entire assembly line model of education is now getting transformed into a more student-centric, personalized instruction. And people are still trying to figure out what is the best way of teaching, what is the best way of student engagement. The whole field of learning analytics, learning science, with developments in brain science, etc., is coming into being. The best understanding that we have in the area of learning sciences to devise policies at the institutional and national level as we move forward. Second is in the area of technology itself. And India has a very robust technology ecosystem. We all, I think, are very proud of it. In education also, very interesting stuff is going on. Only last week we had a 2-day event in Mumbai, wherein all the initiatives that are undertaken under National Mission on use of technology in education, and also what IIT Bombay itself is doing, were showcased along with the policy makers, investigators of those projects, and also academia, and very, very interesting stuff is going on. I think there are initiatives which have no parallel in the entire world. There is a classroom in IIT Bombay which provides 2-week instruction for faculty development for 10,000 teachers at 350 locations in the country. So at a scale where we are using technology and addressing some of the key challenges that the sector of higher education faces, particularly in terms of teacher development, capacity building, etc., we have a unique opportunity in that. Third is, the whole issue of, when you want to improve something, reform something, you have to have good outcome measures. I think the whole regulatory environment, both for public and private higher education, the accreditation systems, they are falling apart around the world, not only in India. US, which has a very robust accreditation system, it is also coming under, is facing a lot of criticism. Now they are shifting into a more outcome-oriented measurement of learning outcomes. How do we basically using more robust metrics, both to measure teaching and research. I think here again, there are thinking around some of these areas in India. We have private companies. I can mention one of them is Aspiring Minds. I don't know if we have anybody from Aspiring Minds here, which have developed very robust systems for measuring learning outcomes, and which we can use both in the public and private system, to basically ensure that we move in the right direction. The fourth is about a country which is having the second largest system of higher education in terms of student enrollment, can at least aspire some of our institutions to be in the top league. We do not currently have those institutions in the top league. We are working towards it, but I don't see, quick success in that regard. In fact, one magazine did a very interesting thing only day before yesterday. they put together the outcome of all IITs together and benchmarked it with the rest of the world. And I do not entirely agree with that exercise because, and you know, wrongfully they had mentioned that University of California system with various campuses, in their rankings, they all combined together, which is wrong. But by doing so, you know, our IITs together rank somewhere 60, 61, which is not bad. So to expect that any of our institutions will be in the top 100 in the next few years, I think is still, we are a little far off. Maybe by 2025, some of our institutions will be in the top 100. But more importantly than that, is that whether our system is organized in a manner, whether as a system of higher education, we are performing robustly. We are meeting the needs of society and economy in the right manner. And therefore, RUSA is all about that. Rashtriya Uchchatar Shiksha Abhiyan is all about systemic thinking for higher education. We are not measuring the outcome of an individual institution. We are looking at a geography of a state and seeing what kind of institutions are there, where are the gaps, what are the challenges there, what kind of ecosystem is to be created for improvement of learning outcomes, what kind of teacher capacity building efforts are required, etc., etc. So I think a systemic view of higher education is what is needed, and that is the fourth big opportunity that is there. Last is about internationalization. I think we are globally connected. Our higher education system is far more connected with the rest of the world than it was before. There is a huge opportunity of learning from around the world, from University of Melbourne, from Australia, from the state of Victoria, as to what is happening in your countries and what is it that we can learn and as we move forward. Thank you.